these words. The capability India has for frugal innovation, and I think that's our contribution to the entire globe. Globally, technologies and knowledge was available, but nobody has put it together and given an answer to the last mile, or the less resourced languages, or the less active voices amongst the global tribal community. So once again, a big shout out to the entire team across these 5 institutions led by IIT Delhi who have been involved with Adi Vaani, and especially to my team also in Ministry of Tribal Affairs. You must have heard over the last 2-3 years, there has been, in fact, I have a lot of friends and colleagues who have always joked about all of a sudden the prominence the Ministry of Tribal Affairs and the tribal affairs per se have enjoyed in this government. So the last 2-3 years, we have seen kind of flagship programs, bigger than any other ministry anywhere in the globe. So our last 2 major programs, one for primitive tribes and one for the tribal majority villages, together are having an outlay of nearly 1 lakh crores. So that's the biggest, globally biggest social sector program for a disadvantaged community. And this is thanks to the Honorable Prime Minister and the Honorable President, who have upon themselves decided to try and bring a focus towards these unserved communities, whom they now like to call as the first mile. So all our interventions, all our knowledge, all our experience has to be tested on the fact that whether the first mile has been suitably addressed by us, those challenges, those service has been addressed by us. So we have had PM Janman and Dharti Aaba programs launched about a year back, which are doing very well, and these are the 1 lakh crore programs I've talked about. Recently, the Honorable Prime Minister has also launched the Adi Karmayogi program, and under it the Adi Seva Parv, which was launched on 17th of September. So we are meeting under the umbrella of this Adi Karmayogi program. So just to brief you on what is this Adi Karmayogi, so that you understand where you stand, each as an institution and as well as an individual. Adi Karmayogi is a program is designed to think of what are we as a nation doing to ensure that the last mile or the first mile is reaping the benefits the mainstream is also reaping. So technologically, economic development wise, social improvement wise, health indicators, the mainstream is galloping forward. These benefits should also reach the difficult areas, geographically, economically, socially difficult areas. So the traditionally disadvantaged. So towards that, we need to address both the supply side and the demand side. So supply side is the governance structure itself. So we are looking at converting and improving the way we govern, the way our governance structures work, the behaviors, the attitudes, the skills and knowledge of our institutions. So these are government institutions starting from the center right down to the village level. This also involves each one of you, because you are also government institutions with an outreach program. So we have been sporadic, we have been occasional, we have been kind of charitable in our approach. This has not been mainstream or embedded in every institution's way of thinking and way of working. If it is a first mile for every government ministry and department, why shouldn't it be the first mile for every institution also? So I am aware of the Harvard Blue Book on trying to create education out of village or community problem solving. So similar approach could be a possible way forward for our institutions. On the demand side, we have communities which are not very demanding, but we have students from these very communities who are studying in the topmost institutions. We have colleagues of these students, the other students. So it is also right time for us to expose them. The students who are working or coming from these communities, expose them to the opportunity of trying to solve the problems in their respective villages, and also expose the other students to try and use their knowledge and try and solve these problems. So if our learning, so for instance, if our learning itself could embed that necessarily in your 3 years, 4 years or 2-year program, if you are in IIMs, etc., necessarily you will have to come up with a project which is a problem solving project for a tribal community. Anywhere near your place, far away from your place, could be your community, or tie up with a student who is from these communities and go to his village and find the problem and come up with a solution. And we have parallelly something called a venture capital fund. So any of your students mentored by all of you directors and senior professors who are here, if you feel that this merits investment, so we have created a venture capital fund in our ministry, and we intend to expand it to about 500 crores. So we will come up with requisite funds to fund those ideas also. Apart from taking it up in government and trying to see if we can implement those ideas which you recommend as an institution, that these students have come up with these ideas and they merit investment. If I break it up, since we have 4 types of institutions which have joined here, we have technology. So technology, we have heard about the challenge of language, the barrier of language. Then if you remember long years back when I was a student in similar IIT Delhi, we used to have appropriate technologies, we used to have CAPART centers, etc. So there's a time to rethink those things. How can we use the latest technologies to try and find solutions to their problems? Let's say water treatment. So can there be a very cheap and localized method of water treatment? I think we have also kind of funded some research on the artisans, the way of their furnace working in Madhya Pradesh with IIT Delhi. So similar kind of projects. So tech-based projects which are on one side problem solving, on the other side also tools for learning for students. The other point, and I think Professor Sandeep and the entire BBMC team would probably agree with me if I suggest that all these student chapters, if they can open up and create their language chapters also. So as you must have heard, the students, the biggest problem was not that the model could not handle, but we didn't have enough corpus of the language. So wherever you are situated, whichever is the dominant language of tribal language of that area, if you could create the corpus, take their codes, and you start parallelly working under this larger institutional umbrella which IIT Delhi can lead. So we can have 20 languages working at the same time, because this is shared knowledge. They have done the path, they can share it with you. We can have some workshops which this ministry will happily host, where we can have this sharing, so that at the same time 20 institutions can work on this challenge. The challenge mostly now is having the low resource language inputs, which you have because you are located nearby, you are located in that environment, you can easily access, and we are there to help, like we helped in the previous occasion. But at one stroke, we can try and kind of upscale the level of our involvement. So that is my one suggestion for everybody to consider. If I look at the IIMs and the management schools, so we have the most unique products available in the world. If you are aware that some of this stuff is going into, you must be aware that some of the stuff is going into the biggest cosmetic brands of the world, etc. Some of them are going into most original products being created out of, let's say, turmeric out of Meghalaya, etc. It has the highest curcumin content anywhere found in the world. So when you had COVID, you had a lot of smuggling happening in curcumin from these parts. So anyway, to look at the entire value chain, why don't we have our students look at the entire value chain of some of these products, work on the design, work on the marketing, work on creating a low volume, high niche product. Why not work on creating a customized product alone? Because we are low volume, we are handmade. So why should it be mass produced? Why should we be looking at a large volume mass produced product? Why can't we change our thinking? So these are thoughts. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. So I am trying to place some challenges to our management community, that why have we not come up with answers which look at the entire value chain? Before you join the HLLs and the ITCs of the world, why not we do some original work and find some answers to these original products which whenever we see them, we feel they are so unique, but unfortunately nobody has spent time on them. So my suggestion to the management team, health, of course, the challenge is very well known. We have already started working along with some of you, some of the AIMS, etc. We would be more than happy and pleased to expand this role. So you have rightly identified, many of you directors who have joined us on the outreach, the telemedicine requirement, etc. So this is where tech and health could work together if we have both the institutions working. So we have been looking at finding a VSAT which could be in a briefcase. So India doesn't seem to have one, and BSNL has one from Germany it seems. So if I have these mobile medical units going around. If I could fit a VSAT on it, which is a low cost, low weight. Long years back, we've not been able to search, we've been trying very hard. The Trivandrum Space Research Center can tell us subsequently. But it seemed they had one experiment long years back on a similar idea. I don't know what happened to it. But we are clients waiting for such a tech. Can we put telemedicine VSAT on each of our MMUs, which goes village to village? So it visits 10 villages a month and spends about a day in each village. So one doctor would serve these people. And we could increase the frequency, etc., put it on a motorcycle wherever it's in a hilly terrain and many such things. But if you come up with such a tech, a low cost, low weight tech is our need. I have been myself personally searching for an answer, throwing experiments at ISRO, throwing money also at that, but kind of at a dead end. So that's again a personal outreach, let me say, if I'm placing the problem statement to both the tech and the AIIMS communities who are here. And last we have also had, I saw in IIT Delhi and I assume that more law schools are also here. So there is an entire rights-based area which is untouched. We have not had institutions working on the rights part of it. So we have Forest Rights Act, we have its intersection with the Forest Act, the Forest Conservation Act. We have also many other rights-based issues. So I think a lot of research, we have now the biodiversity and ecological safety sharing protocol which is being discussed at a global level. So I think that also is an active area for your students to take up research in. And also to come up with thoughts, ideas, policy inputs. Of course, policy inputs from all of you would be more than welcome. So these are few starting ideas. And since this is Adi Seva Parv, which started on 17th September and finishes on 2nd October. So it is great to see all of you here, and it would not be important, or it would not be, adequate if we are not doing something by 2nd October. So let me offer this to you, that we hope that each one of these 245 premier institutions we have in the country, and about 400 of you who have joined us here today, each one of you sets up a student chapter 1. Now this student chapter is not limited to tribal students alone. This is a cross-learning exercise. This is ensuring that the learning from problem solving in tribal areas is embedded in your institutions. So there is a student chapter of Adi Karmayogi set up in your institution before 2nd October. On 2nd October, you take up your first program, any program which you deem fit. It can be within the institution, it can be outside in the villages, as the institution may decide, or as the students may decide. And eventually we would like to start having a cascade of these meetings, etc., which we will fund. So we can have state level and then have national level, have exchanges of ideas and what experiments they have been doing. So that as a ministry we will bankroll. And then have best practices awarded and best efforts done, best club, etc. So you can see, you can expect that we will be rolling out these things and we will be reaching out to all of you. As of now, IIT Delhi Birsa Munda Center will be our control hub or command center as far as both the Adi Vaani as well as the Adi Karmayogi Student Center is concerned. So I have huge amount, as I started off, I have huge amount of expectation. I have also been in these very halls many years ago, so I've nearly forgotten my steps. But the very thought of possibilities which can be unleashed here, if we are able to give some directions to our youth, present them those challenges, I think the potential is immense. We will have our own homegrown frugal innovation. More and more Adi Vaani is coming forward. So once again my request to all our directors, all senior office professors, etc., who have joined us, that immediately please take this up and address your students. Present it to them, address it to them. Don't lead it at your level. That is the expectation at the highest level in the country, that you shall or you will take this opportunity